Welcome to the lectures of Basic Electrical Engineering. I am Mr. Nagaraj DC, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, BMS Institute of Technology, Yelahanka, Bangalore. In the previous class, we have discussed what is the phasor relationship between the voltage and current in a practical inductive circuit, that is RL circuit, and we got to know from the phasor diagram that the current will be lagging behind the voltage by an angle phi. In this discussion now, we are intended to see what is the power consumption in the circuit, RL circuit, and how to get the equation for power consumption in the RL circuit. Meanwhile, we know that in the previous discussion about the pure circuits, that the entire power given from the source to the resistive component, if it is pure resistance circuit, is dissipated in the form of heat. The entire input power given from the source to the inductive circuit or inductive element is stored in the form of electromagnetic energy. No energy consumption or power dissipation occur in pure inductive circuit. The complete power given or energy given from the source to the element is stored in the form of electromagnetic energy. Whereas in pure capacitive circuit, the complete input energy or power given to the capacitance is stored in the form of electrostatic energy or electrostatic field surrounding the two plates of the across the two plates of the capacitor. Okay, and here also we don't observe any kind of power dissipation in the circuit. But whereas in case of practical RL circuit, because of presence of resistance in the circuit, there may be the chance of power consumption by the circuit. And what is the amount of power consumption, whether it is same as that of power consumed by the resistance or whether it is same as that of power consumed or energy stored in the form of electromagnetic field or static field in reactive circuits. So let us consider the instantaneous equations of voltage and current from equation 1 and 2. So the instantaneous power is given by instantaneous power is P is equals to E into I. I can write it as Em sin omega t into Im sin omega t minus phi, or P is equals to Em into Im sin omega t into sine of omega t minus phi. So we have the trigonometric relations of sine omega t minus phi. Let us take it as sine omega t as sine A, sine omega t minus phi as sine B. So we have sine A sine B is equals to half cos of A minus B minus cos of A plus B. So using this, or we can write this is for our reference, sine A sine B is equals to half cos of A minus B minus cos of A plus B. Considering omega t as A, omega t minus phi as B, using this relation of trigonometric functions, we can write P is equals to Em Im will remain as they are into half cos of A minus B omega t minus omega t plus phi. Okay. Omega t minus of omega t minus phi minus cos of omega t plus, I will write a little below, omega t minus phi. So this I will write it as Em Im into half cos of omega t minus omega t, it will be cos phi minus cos of 2 omega t minus phi. Expanding or opening the brackets, p is equals to, I will write Em Im over 2 cos phi minus Em Im over 2 cos of 2 omega t minus phi. Let us consider this as equation number to be 4. So we observe here in the instantaneous equation of power for RL circuit, P is equals to, in equation 4 there are two terms. First term Em Im by 2 cos phi minus Em Im by 2 cos of 2 omega t minus phi. Okay. So when we observe the value of cos phi, cos of phi, where phi is my phase angle difference between voltage and current, which is given by phi is equals to tan inverse of XL by R. So as long as the component values of the circuits remain constant, the value of phi will remain constant. Okay. Since phi is equal to tan inverse of XL over R, it means that XL is equals to omega L, XL is equals to omega L or 2 pi F into L. Okay. So when we observe, F is the supply frequency of the input voltage and it will remain constant as long as we operate the circuit, and L is the component value of the inductance, which will also remain constant for whatever the circuit we have taken into account. Hence my XL will remain constant, and R is the implicit resistance of the inductive coil, which is also constant for the given inductive value. Therefore, for a given value of R and L, my phase angle difference, okay, or the phase angle between voltage and current will remain constant. Hence, first term is a scalar, where Im and Em are the maximum values of voltage and current, where Em is the maximum value of supply voltage, Im is the maximum value of current flowing into the circuit, whereas Im is equals to, we have Em upon XL, where Em is constant, XL is also constant, therefore Im is also constant for the given supply voltage and for the given circuit elements. Hence the first term contributes in a scalar quantity. Okay, so this I will, just for distinction, a scalar quantity. Now coming to second term of the power equation 4, we observe a omega term here, which is the angular frequency. It means that the second term Em Im by 2 cos of 2 omega t minus phi is a rotating vector, okay, which is having its angular velocity twice the angular velocity of the supply voltage. We can observe here it is 2 omega. Therefore, the angular velocity of the second term here is twice the angular velocity of the supply voltage. Therefore, the second quantity or second term in the power equation 4 represent a vector term. Now what is the problem if whether it is representing a vector term? Because anyway we have already declared that voltage and currents are vectors, so obviously there may be the combination of voltage and current coming out to be a vector. But fundamentally we know power is a scalar quantity. Therefore, any presence of vector term in the equation of power will not hold good. So the existence of any vector term in the equation of power should be discarded. Therefore, the second term in equation 4, okay, should be directly discarded because it contributes a vector quantity. And since power is a scalar in nature, I will be directly neglecting the vector quantity term from the power equation. So therefore, my new power equation will be, give me a moment so that I can change the sheet. Now neglecting second term in equation 4, we get P is equals to Em Im by 2 into cos phi, or P is equals to Em by root 2 into Im by root 2 into cos phi, or P is equals to E into I into cos phi, because we know Em by root 2 and Im by root 2 is the RMS value, and the capital letters EI represent the RMS value. Therefore, power consumed by the RL circuit is given by equation 5, which is P is equals to EI cos phi. Okay. Now this is the power consumed by the RL circuit. If the RL circuit was having R equal to 0, it would have become pure L circuit, then the power consumed would have become 0. Okay. And if the RL circuit was having L equal to 0, it would have become a pure resistive circuit, then the power consumed would have been P equal to E into I. But now, because of presence of both resistance and inductance in the circuit, the power consumed came out to be P equal to E into I. Now we will see what is the significance of this cos phi and what does it mean, how important it is, and what it gives us. So from this equation phi, cos phi is known as power factor. Power factor of circuit. Okay. Now what is cos phi? Cos phi is nothing but cosine of angle between voltage and current. Very simply, it is defined as the cosine of angle between voltage and current, because phi is the angle between voltage and current. Hence, I can define cos phi as cosine of angle between voltage and current. Now, how I can obtain this? In the previous discussion, we know from the phasor diagram, phi is between E and ER. Okay. It is the angle subtended between the hypotenuse of the right angle triangle representing base as the resistive voltage drop, opposite side as the inductive voltage drop, and hypotenuse as the total voltage or the resultant voltage. Okay. So and this was given as phi is equals to tan inverse of XL by R. Okay. Now when I redraw this triangle, okay, taking out the currents, because in all the three sides current is common, and I will take out the current and I draw a triangle with R, XL and Z. R, XL and Z. So as we see from this discussion, the angle between I into Z and I into R is phi. Okay, because I is common, proportionally all the sides of this triangle are now proportional to R, XL and Z respectively. Therefore I have taken out the I and I have simply drawn the triangle representing R, XL and Z. Now angle between R and Z is phi. This triangle is known as impedance triangle. This triangle is known as impedance triangle. Okay. Now this cos phi can be further written as cos phi is equals to, from this impedance triangle, simple, a fundamental definition of cosine function, it is the base upon hypotenuse, that is R divided by Z. So here I defined power factor as the cosine of angle between voltage and current. Further coming ahead, I define power factor as the ratio of resistance of the circuit to the impedance of the circuit. Okay. Now, if I want to draw the waveform of power, okay, how would the waveform of power look like? Okay. So let us consider, and we have to draw with respect to the phasor relations of all the quantities. Now let us consider the y-axis. This is omega t. Y-axis represent E, I and also P. Okay. Now we have E is equals to Em sin omega t. It means that voltage is starting at omega t equals to 0. The initial phase angle of voltage is omega t, that is omega t equals to 0. I will take it from reference axis, so therefore I take initial phase angle of E as 0. Okay, so I will draw a waveform. Let this represent E. Now let me draw the waveform for I. The equation for I is I equals to Im sin omega t minus phi. It means that there is a lagging angle of phi with respect to E for the current I. It means the current I is starting after a phase angle of phi with respect to omega t equal to 0. Therefore, let us consider this as phi. Note that this phi should be less than 90 degrees. Okay, this is pi, 2 pi, 3 pi and 4 pi and so on. Okay, so at phi this is my Em. Let this be Im. Now I is starting after an angle phi with respect to omega t equal to 0. Therefore it reaches its maximum value after an angle phi after pi by 2. So therefore there is a constant phase difference of angle phi. Okay, so this is my current I. Now this is the constant phase difference angle. Okay. Now draw the waveform for power. Simply multiply my voltage and current. P is equals to, I have taken E into I. Multiply the instantaneous values of E and I. Now see here, for 0 to phi, my voltage is positive, current is negative, therefore my power will be negative. From phi to pi plus phi, both voltage, from phi to pi, my both voltage and current are positive, therefore my power will be positive. Here again it is negative. Please go through the angle markings, where all positive and where all negative. It is very much important. Sorry, it has to come here. This is not there. Okay. Please forgive me. This. Okay. So this is the amount of positive power, this is the amount of negative power. Okay. Already we have seen that the power is a scalar. Okay, and the question is why there is positive and negative nature of the power. Okay, so this nature of power is existing because of the entire equation number 4. Okay, and because power is not vector, I have discarded the change in the direction of power, and that average power over a cycle is positive. Because see, if I consider the power over 0 to 2 pi over a complete cycle here, okay, the negative pulses are very small and the positive pulses are very much pronounced. Therefore the average power in the circuit is positive. Okay. It means that positive power means the power flow is from source to the components. It means that the components are consuming some amount of power, and that power is given by P equal to EI cos phi. Okay. This is about power consumption of the circuit in an RL network series circuit when connected to the alternating source. Now when I re-look into the phasor relation between voltage and current, let us divide the sheet so that the usage is better. Okay. Now as per equation 1, now from equation 1 and 2, I have E is equals to Em sin omega t and I is equals to Im sin omega t minus phi. Now forgetting what nature of circuit, whether series or parallel, just let us concentrate on the two equations of E and I and draw the phasor relation of E and I. With respect to this equation, I will rewrite the equation same as 1 and 2. I will not give any new equation numbers because already we have taken it. Now equation 1, very easily it is seen that it is the reference. Okay, it means that the initial phase angle of voltage is 0, hence it has to start from the reference axis. I will draw the vector of E on positive x-axis, and it is evident from equation 2 that current I is lagging behind voltage E by an angle phi. Now this is I and this is phi. From this vector diagram we will have a slight further analysis, that now I can resolve vector I into two components, vertical component and horizontal component. Okay. Now when I resolve vector I into horizontal component and vertical component, okay, now my horizontal component will become, this is the horizontal component, this is vertical component. So horizontal component is given by I cos phi, vertical component is given by I sin phi. Okay. So now I will take only this triangle down, representing I cos phi, I sin phi and I. This is I cos phi, I sin phi and I. This is angle phi. Okay. Now observe the horizontal component I cos phi is in phase with voltage E. Okay. And the vertical component I sin phi is at an angle 90 degree lagging with respect to voltage E. Okay. So in the previous discussion we have seen, if the circuit was pure, then my power consumption would have become 0, because all the power that is given to the component is stored in the form of magnetic field. If the circuit would have been pure resistive, then the complete power would have been dissipated in the form of heat. But when I took the RL circuit, neither the power given is completely stored in the form of magnetic field, nor the power given is completely dissipated in the form of heat. So what we observe here is some part of the power is dissipated or consumed, some part of the power is stored. Okay. So these two components of the current, I cos phi and I sin phi, gives us what component of the power is dissipated and what component of the power is stored. Okay. So to this, if I now multiply the voltage for all the three currents, let us take EI cos phi and EI sin phi. Now the three vectors representing current have become the powers. Okay, and this triangle is known as power triangle. Okay, so this power triangle will give us, out of total power given to the circuit, what amount of power is dissipated, what amount of power is stored. Now the question is, which amount of which power is dissipated and which power is stored, because we have two power components. One is Ei cos phi, other is Ei sin phi. Now out of these two, which is the power that is been consumed or dissipated and which is the power that is been stored. Now when I see the fundamental circuit, the power dissipation occurs when current is in phase with the voltage. In these two cases, current is not in phase with the voltage. So the current that is remaining in phase with the voltage is responsible for the power consumption or power dissipation. Therefore, from this circuit, the component Ei cos phi is in phase with voltage E. So this current I cos phi is the component of the current that is responsible for the energy consumption or power dissipation. Now this is the this is the current that is responsible for doing work in the circuit. Because when the power consumed means the power is always consumed to do certain work. Okay? Therefore, this is the current I cos phi that is responsible for power consumption or work done. Hence, the component I cos phi is known as active component of current, or it is also known as real component of current. Okay. Now here we see that when current is at an angle 90 degree with respect to the voltage, then that current is responsible for the energy storage in the device. Hence, the current component I sin phi, which is at an angle 90 degree with respect to voltage E and is lagging, because this is the assumed direction of rotation of vectors. Now this current I sin phi is the current that is responsible for energy storage in the circuit. Okay. Hence, I sin phi is known as reactive component because it is due to reactance of the circuit. Reactive component of current. Okay. It is known as reactive component of the current. Okay. Now, these two currents, and there is one more current I, which is the vector sum of both the currents. It is called the total current. Okay, of the circuit. Total current of the circuit. Okay. Now these three currents are responsible for three different powers. Those are acting in the circuit. Okay. So when I multiplied the voltages for each of these currents, my Ei cos phi this Ei cos phi is nothing but Welcome back to Basic Electrical Engineering lectures. we are dealing with series RL circuit. So in the previous lecture we have seen the various components of the current, those contribute for power consumption and the energy storage. Now when we have multiplied the voltages to each current, we got EI as hypotenuse, EI cos phi and EI sin phi. This triangle representing these three powers is called power triangle. Okay? So the power with respect to I cos phi, or the active component of the current, is called active power. Now this power is nothing but the power consumed by the circuit, EI cos phi. So this is the same power that is been consumed by the circuit. Therefore this power is known as active power or real power. The unit of this power is watts. The fundamental unit of power itself is taken here for representing the unit of the active power, that is EI cos phi. EI sin phi is the power from the source used by the circuit to store the energy. It means it is helpful for us to magnetize the circuit so that the energy is stored in the form of electromagnetic field around the coil, inductive coil. Power EI is the total power delivered to the circuit, E into I. Its unit is VA, volt amperes, and the unit of reactive power is reactive volt amperes. So these three are the powers those exist in any alternating current circuit if the circuit is reactive. If the circuit is not reactive, then only active power will exist. If the circuit is not resistive but purely reactive, only reactive power will exist. Okay, in that case, in pure resistive circuit, total power is equal to active power. In pure reactive circuit, total power is equals to reactive power. This is the analysis of RL circuit when applied with the alternating current source. Now the significance of power factor. What is power factor? With respect to the power triangle, in one more way I can represent this power factor cos phi. From this power triangle I can write power factor is equals to cos phi is equals to active power upon total power. Or it is watts divided by volt amperes. Or from this equation you can write the unit of power EI cos phi is watts here, because it is active power. Therefore watts is equals to cos phi into volt amperes, whereas EI is volt amperes, cos phi is the power factor. Therefore power factor is equal to active power by total power. That is equals to P divided by E into I. So in one more way I can represent or define power factor as it is the ratio of active power to total power. So generally we can represent or we can define power factor in three ways. That is power factor, it is cosine of angle between voltage and current. It is ratio of resistance to impedance Third, it is ratio of active power or real power to total power or apparent power. So we can find power factor when I know what is the angle between E and I, or when I know the circuit components R and Z, and also when I know what is active power and what is the total power of the circuit. Now, significance of power factor. Significance of cos phi in the circuit. Okay, so we have power consumed P is equals to EI cos phi. Okay, so it is very much evident that cos phi, as the value of cos phi increases, power consumed in the circuit increases. So what is the range of cos phi? Range of cos phi is equals to 0 to 1. It is strictly from 0 to 1, okay, because the range of phi is equals to 0 degree to 90 degrees. If the circuit is pure resistive, phi is 0. If the circuit is pure reactive, phi is 90. Therefore, if the circuit is pure resistive, cos phi is cos of 0, that is 1. And if circuit is pure reactive, then cos phi is cos of 90 is equals to 0. Okay. For pure R circuit, phi is equals to 0. Therefore, cos phi is equals to 1. And for pure L or C, phi is equals to 90 degrees. Therefore, cos of 90 is equals to 0. Therefore, what we see here is pure R circuit is called as unity power factor circuit. Pure R circuit is called as unity power factor circuit, whereas pure L or pure C circuit is called zero power factor circuit. Okay, so when the power factor of the circuit is unity, effectively the circuit is resistive. When the power factor of the circuit is 0, effectively the circuit is reactive. Okay, now what is the significance of cos phi? Significance of cos phi lies in the value of cos phi what we chose to be in the circuit. Now value of cos phi is completely depending upon the value of R and value of Z. In turn, value of Z is depending upon, here we can see Z is equals to under root R square plus XL square. Okay, so Z is equals to under root R square plus XL square. The value of Z is depending upon R and XL, whereas XL is depending upon the value of L. Therefore, the cos phi is depending upon the value of R and L. Okay, so what value of R and L I choose, that will fix the value of power factor cos phi. Now, it is expected that for any operating circuit, my power factor should be high. High in the sense it should be near to unity. Okay, why it should be near to unity? Because out of total power given to the circuit, it is expected that the complete power should be consumed. If the power consumption is less, then the current drawn by the circuit is more, but work done by the circuit is less. Okay, in the sense, if my I cos phi component is less, I sin phi component is more. Therefore, for the same amount of work done, for the same amount of work done, the current drawn by the system is more. Hence, the consumers will end up in paying more electricity bill for the same amount of energy consumption. Okay. So, this is why we are expected to keep the power factor of the circuit at higher level, that is nearly equal to 1 or near to 1. There is a range of power factor where there is a low power factor range and high power factor range. If the power factor is from 0 to 0.4 or 0.5, we just generally consider it to be low power factor range. And if the power factor is nearly equal to 1, we consider it to be high power factor or unity power factor range. Okay, so it is always expected that ideally the circuit power factor should be unity, but many a times it may not be possible to maintain unity power factor. So it is expected that power factor of the circuit should be nearly equal to 1. Okay. For domestic applications, the value of power factor will not affect much, but for the industrial applications, if the power factor value is very low, then generally the electricity boards will penalize the consumers, industrial consumers, if the power factor of the circuit is falling below certain range. Okay. So what happens if power factor is low, and what happens if power factor is high? With a very small example, let us consider we all use the fans. For example, we have fans. Generally the ceiling fan, okay, we have a ceiling fan. The power rating of ceiling fan is nearly 80 watts. 80 to 100 watts depends upon the manufacturer. Let us consider it as 80 watts. So if the power factor of this ceiling fan is varied in a range keeping the power consumed by the fan 80 watts, because the moment this fan is designed, the current or the power delivered by this fan will be fixed, that is of 80 watts. Now if the power factor of the fan is kept large in the sense I will make the fan very much inductive than necessary and less resistive than unnecessary. Okay. So the current drawn by the fan is I is equals to, now if cos phi is equals to 1, current drawn by the fan is 80 watts divided by 230. Okay. If cos phi is equals to 0.5, current drawn by the fan is 80 watts divided by, this is into 1, 230 into 0.5. Now cos phi is equals to 0.2. Now current drawn is 80 watts divided by 230 into 0.2. Now when we calculate the current, see the work done by the fan is same, it is remaining 80 watts, it is not changing. So the current drawn by the fan is 80 watts divided by 230. Let us calculate the value of current. It is 80 divided by 230 is 0.347 amperes. Okay. When power factor is 0.5, the current drawn is 0.695 amperes, and when the power factor is 0.2, the current drawn is 1.73 amperes. Okay, so these are the current drawn from the source for various power factors. Okay, it is Vi cos phi equal to 80, Vi cos phi equal to 80, Vi cos phi equal to 80. Now V is constant, it is 230 volt constant supply. Now cos phi I will be keeping depending upon my requirement. Let us change it, consider it from 1 to 0.2, any value. So see, to do the same amount of work or to deliver the same amount of power with power factor equal to 1, the fan is taking 0.34 amperes of current. When power factor is kept 0.5, the current drawn from the source is 0.69 amperes, but it is delivering the same amount of power, giving out the same amount of power. And when power factor is 0.2, it is taking very large amount of current to deliver the same amount of power. So it means that from this equation, it appears that if the power factor is increasing, my power consumption increases. Therefore, the current drawn increases. But when in practice, if the power factor is kept high, for the same amount of work to be done, see, for one should keep it in mind that when any appliance is designed for operation, the power rating of that appliance is fixed. Therefore, that appliance will receive that amount of power from the source. Therefore, if the power factor of that appliance or that device is very low, then to do the same amount of work, the current drawn is large. If the power factor of that device or appliance is high, then to do the same amount of work, current drawn from the source is less. Now, what if the current drawn is more? Now, what is the problem if power factor is less and current drawn is more? Okay, one should keep it in mind that when the current drawn is more, the total power of the circuit is also more. This is for which I am paying the electricity bill. Therefore, when the power factor is kept less, it is not only the system is not only getting the excess current, but also the consumer is giving more bill or more money for the same amount of energy consumption. Okay? So this is the understanding here. Now this is one part of the view with respect to consumer. Now what happens from the supplier side? See, whenever any load is decided for a particular firm, industry, it may be, or it may be domestic firm, a load is been fixed. Then depending upon that load fixed, the conductors are used to deliver the power from source to the load center. Now for the same load, if the current drawn is more, for the same load, if the current drawn is more because power factor is less, then the installed conductors are drawing excessive current, which may deteriorate the life of the conductors, the life of the insulators associated. It in turn is burdening or overloading the current existing installed power system. Therefore, with the choice of lower power factors, we are overloading the system because of drawing of excess amount of current. Okay, the total power will remain or it will increase by keeping EI cos phi. When EI cos phi is constant, that is 80 watts, for example in this case, my EI cos phi is equal to 80 watts, but what is happening is, as cos phi is reducing, sin phi is increasing, because cos 0 is 1 and sin 0 is 0. Cos 90 is 1 and sin 90 is, cos 90 is 0, sin 90 is 1. As cos phi decreases, sin phi increases. It means that the energy storing component of the current is increasing excessively, which I don't want. Okay, slight amount of energy storage is required for my inductive load application, but if it is in excess, it is of no use for me. Unnecessarily we are overloading the existing network. Therefore, the significance of power factor lies in keeping its value near to unity. Okay, so this is what the analysis of RL series circuit. Okay, hope this lecture has helped you in understanding the nature of RL circuit when connected with the alternating current source, and what is power factor and what is significance of power factor Also the various phase relations between the voltage and current and various powers those are existing in alternating current system. These powers are collectively existing in the same system. Don't think that I cos phi, ei cos phi exist and ei sin phi existing somewhere. It is coming from the external source. From the same source E, this source E is giving out ei, that is total power, of which there is some part ei cos phi which is creating the power consumption in R, and ei sin phi which is creating the magnetization or the energy storing of electromagnetic field across L. So the same source is delivering both the powers to in the system. Hope this lecture video is useful for you. It has helped you in understanding the nature of AC circuit with RL component connected to the sinusoidal alternating source. Okay, so we'll currently end this lecture at this point. In the next lecture we will see what happens when there is a series RC circuit. The analysis will remain same. In the same lines we will take in the analysis further, and there we will see what are the phasor relation between E and I, what is the power consumption there in RC circuit, and what are the phasor diagrams and circuit components. Thank you.